Welcome to Good Food. Today we are making a raisin, walnut, cinnamon loaf. And it's inspired from those bagels that have the cinnamon and raisin in it, the raisin bread or raisin bread. But I add walnuts as well. And it is scrumdiddlicious. Is that a word? Anyway, in my bowl, I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. To that, I have added a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and I sifted it twice so that the flour gets really well aerated. And I think it helps lighting, whether you're doing cakes, whatever. I always aerate my flour. And it also mixes well the other ingredients you added to your flour. This case, salt and cinnamon. So, also here I have got a 3/4 cup of chopped walnuts, roughly chopped. You don't have to go insane about it. And 3/4 cup of the raisins, and I have taken a tablespoon of my flour mixture and just worked it into my nut and raisin, just like that. This helps prevent your nuts and raisins settling to the bottom of the loaf while it's baking. To my flour, I'm going to add my sugar, which is 2/3 cup of sugar. I'm just going to pour it in there, and I'm going to take my spoon and just get it mixed. Like I said, it just helps getting it mixed together. And so sugar doesn't need to be aerated. So to this, I'm going to make a well like that and then set that aside. And in my bowl, I have my 1½ cups of milk and 1 egg. So let me just, I'm gonna start it by mixing it a little bit, like that. Just gonna give that a mix and put this in there. This is a very easy loaf to make, and it makes a large loaf. I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. I'm using convection oven, or as the Brits say, a fan assist oven. And you can just bake it, if you don't have that, don't worry about it. It's not a necessary thing. So now this is my wet ingredients. So I'm going to pour my wet ingredients into that well I've made. And I don't know now if you have seen the well. You see the well in the center? And now I'm going to mix. Let me move these, get these out of the way, kind of clear my space. I'm going to gently mix. You kind of mix and fold. You don't get too crazy about it. You just want your dry ingredients to be moistened with the wet. And once that happens, you'll be finished with mixing. We do not want the gluten we're not looking for rolls or, the gluten structure is going to be minimal in this. I have forgotten I added also to my dry ingredients, I've added 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I knew I was forgetting something. So I put that in before I sifted my flour. Okay. And you see, everything is wet. It's all wet. Just like that. You just want to make sure all your ingredients are wet. Just like that. See, it's not that difficult, is it? I'm going to scrape off. We don't want to lose any of our delicious. Now this loaf is going to what we call Chat and Chew at our local library. It meets every other Tuesday, first and third Tuesdays of the month. And it's in Cottageville, South Carolina. If you want to come and join us, please do. You will be welcomed. I also would like to add, since I mentioned the library, support your local library, or you may wake up one day and find you don't have a local library. The state is not going to continue to support, or your county, and put fundings into something that is not being used. So make sure you go get you a card and check a book out occasionally and check some of the classes and things. You would be very surprised what your local library has on offer. So I am just making sure everything gets distributed well. And it is very thick. It's thick, thick, thick. So don't panic. It is supposed to be. Okay, I think I've got it. You just want to make sure it gets evenly. This is a lot like, reminds me of glue. You know the glue paste you were in, well, you may not use it. It's dependent on your age. We used to have it in schools to make, those little structures that, we used to make with sheets of newspaper, flour, paste. And we would make all kinds of little art. So, and there you go. So I've got it ready. I forgot to mix my... So I didn't add my melted butter. It was behind me. I'm adding it now. You don't do that. You add it to your wet ingredients and fold it in with your dry ingredients. But I'm going to get it mixed in. It's still very thick. And it's going to be absolutely fine. So if you forget an ingredient, just put it in before you put it in the pan. And your bread will turn out fine. There, see? It turned out nice. Not a problem. This is a large loaf pan. It's a 9 by 5 inch loaf pan. So also I have buttered generously. Then I took, and it's about 1.5 teaspoons. That's all you need of sugar to coat the sides of your and bottom of your pan. Or your loaf pan. So anyway, you don't have to do that. You can just skip those two and spray it with Pam. But it's going to be for my friends. Chat and chew. This is going to be the chew part, or some of the chew part. There'll be other things there. And so I wanted to make it a little extra special. Around the holiday season, and I usually will coat my breads like that. If I make them during the year, not so much. Now you want to just smooth it out and just like that. Now if you want to, you can get two smaller loaf pans. I probably should have backed this up. You can get two smaller loaf pans and that would, and divide it up. It may not rise as high, but it'll still be, you'll be able to split this recipe or just half it. 1.5 cups of flour and so forth if you want a smaller loaf. So now I'm going to put this in the oven. I'm going to check it in 40 minutes. It's going to cook in 45 to 60 minutes. And I'll show you how to tell when it is done when we get to that point. Okay, so let me show you. Let me show you how to tell if your bread is done. You want to stick it down in the middle, like that, with a toothpick. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, a tiny bit of crumb. And it's kind of moist, but there's no batter on it. And that's the important part. There's no batter. Oh, that's not what I want to use. I've got some, oh man, sugar and cinnamon sugar. You know, like cinnamon sugar toast. I haven't had that in years. Anyway, mix it up and I'm just going to, the sugar will melt and on here because it's just straight out of the oven, so it's hot. Let me turn this out and try to get it out without. Yep, there it went. Oh. You see how that bounces back? When you press in on the back side, it should bounce back. And that's another signal that it is done. This is hot, but I don't want it to. So, there you have it. Raisin, walnut, cinnamon loaf. Why don't you make it for your family? I guarantee you're going to love it. Please, if you enjoy my videos, subscribe. And if you like this particular video, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. It helps my algorithm. So until the next time, I'll see you soon.